Welcome back to Factorio Hyperbase, where the aim is to build a very large vanilla-only factory, churning out the science. It'll make even our last factory at 6,000 science per minute seem lame. Well, not lame maybe, but not all that big. So we have the sulfuric acid now coming in, so it is time to build batteries and processing units. So to that end, let us grab a bunch of chem plants. How many batteries do we want to produce? It takes 5 machines to get 1 per second. Yellow science needs 1. We will need to be basically doing 1 per second, so that's 5 for yellow science. Flying robots need 2. If we had 20 machines, we would need 2 a second. I'm probably going to go with 10 machines, so that is only 1 per second. So that's basically 2 per second, or 10. 10 machines making batteries should be fine, which will give us 2 batteries per second. We're not going to be able to get through there. Probably worth making some of these into undergrounds just to provide access through. So what we need is basically the sulfuric acid line. Pretty much can't get any closer than here, and we can start building machines kind of round about there. One, two, three. If you're making batteries, so we can run these things pretty close together. I guess if we want 10 of them, actually, why don't I do it when we only need the internals, which means it goes there. Actually that one might be too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These 2 are not required. Oh, what is the speed of these machines? 1.25. So that should be fine. You actually need to go there. Actually, no, you don't. You only need to go to there. And from this point, we are going to want to bypass this train. So come out to about there. There's the sulfuric acid to one of its destinations. If you're interested, I have actually changed the conditions here, so the load is still until sulfuric acid is over 50,000, but at the other end, we're going to try and unload all of the iron. Well, this is this end. So 5 seconds of inactivity. We want to make sure we load up as much iron as we might need. Not that this is unloading anyway, so it would be able to do that this time without a problem. Have I left enough room here? I should have room for 2 belts. Which I do. I'm going to need a bunch of undergrounds to make this work. two. No, one should do more of this belt. Probably a bunch of additional underground pipes would be useful. Let's see if we can make it work with that. I do have more stone. Okay, you can be my stone donation. So let's get you across here. And complete this. Get the pipes out of the way. So one pipe can run, one transport belt can run cleanly along here. The other one can run and jump the pipes. Just because I prefer taking cleanly off belt rather than underground, even though I don't think it makes any difference anymore. I will set it up like that. And then we will try and use our long inserters on belt. And our short inserters just anywhere. Like so. And the number we're producing per second, we should... Wow, we're out of blues. We don't actually even need blue inserters, but just in general principles, we'll use blue inserters. General principles, plus I think it actually ends up being slightly more efficient power-wise. Not that that really matters in the scheme of things. We'll just be producing so much solar later on that it's completely irrelevant. So I think the volume of copper and iron is identical, so it doesn't really matter which one gets which. Probably copper can have the back. And iron can have this one. Which means, not that, I want to put this about there. So where I am standing. Oops. There's the iron. Copper wants to come up to here then. And come through here. Oops. There we go. And power. Oh, power and some lights. so it's a little bit easier to see around the factory before we install some night vision, which actually, could we do that now? No, probably not. And lights here as well. Those lights may have turned off too soon, but there's batteries, so that's our first component. That can head down to there. Now obviously we're going to want to build robots fairly soon along here as well, but I think we need to get the processing units up and running first. Processing units, we need 3 per second. What else do we need them in? We need them in... no, we don't need them in the speed module. So for starters we need 3 per second. That would be 30 processing units, so if we had 2 rows of 15, that should be sufficient. Now again, we are going to need to have this pipe and our 2 rows of input. And actually, I might even leave myself one more space to make that a bit easier rather than having to do this bouncing stuff. 2 rows of input, the assembly machine, 1 row of output, or another row of input, another assembly machine, 2 rows of input and pipe. So that does fit quite nicely. Let's do some calculations. So if you are Blue Circuits, you basically want we're going to go 15 deep here, and we need 20 electronic circuits per processing unit, and we are going to be making out of each row, we've got 15 of them, that's 30, that's like 3 a second. Theoretically, one single yellow belt. No, hang on. Is that? No, we're taking 3. If we're taking 3 a second off it, a yellow belt should be able to provide that by itself. But we're likely to expand this. So I don't know. You're always short in processing unit builds, so I'm going to run with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, that can't be right. If that was 10, 11, 12, 13, I guess 15 is an odd number. So it could be right. And we do have room for expansion so that we can consider modules in the future, which means that the capacity might have to increase. I might not have needed to make this quite as fancy as I have in terms of the number of belts. But you can never be too sure, and safeguarding for the future is probably a good thing, so we're doing it. Okay, that's that. Now the pipe. And the other side. Actually, let's do the connections. We might remove some of the, especially from here, it looks like there's a decent gap there, so it might make sense to remove those segments. I know we're not stressed on performance just yet, but the cost of a little underground is fairly trivial, and it does remove pipe, and it also makes the factory more navigable, which is an important consideration actually that often goes overlooked. So it could well be worth our while. I mean, what I'm saying is to do something like that periodically, or at least in all of these gaps that are 3 wide. So there is a 10-to-1 disparity between the amount of green that you need and the amount of red that you need for this process. You need 2 red circuits, and you need 20 green circuits to make each one. Need it down there. So we effectively have 3 input lines. If a whole one is red, then what that means is we only are doing a 2-to-1. If we put like half and half red on here, and the other half is green, and this is all green, and this is all green, then that will be 1-to-5, which is closer to the ratio. It's still not the ratio, but it's closer to the ratio, so that would probably do it's probably what we will be doing. We need to go slightly further then with that. We certainly don't want the machines to slow down for lack of ability to feed greens in, but I don't think that will be the problem somehow. And we will be feeding greens in from this direction as well. Doing for blues, we might be, yes, we're into our second stack already. So much easier doing these sorts of builds when you have a make everything factory in effect. So, how are we going to get all of these green circuits? Because we basically have half plus, so it's 2.5 sets of green circuits in each direction, and we still do need green circuits for other things. The modules, should we be able to build them, need green circuits, so we can't just turn all these lines straight in. No, that is something of a quandary. Well, let's see if we can get an even draw of green onto each of those lines first. Oops. And then we'll see what we need to do. So, that's the first one. The second one kind of fits, or kind of just doesn't. Just does. The third one is back here. So the third and fourth are way off where they need to be. And we need the extra split offs, so we're missing a few things. Let's grab a few more undergrounds. Yep, over here. Might grab a few. Possibly return a few reds for the moment. Okay, this one can actually go like so. This one, not from there. Go like so. This one needs to do it from here. Which means we're going to have to bend back on ourselves. This one needs to do it to there. So also bending back on itself. And that's the other line which we need to do some sort of split off for. So we have a line coming through to here somewhere. Yeah, this is kind of messy at this point. I guess I want to get to there, perhaps. We could even use this little area here. To do something like so. Which would mean that we need to... this gets worse and worse. If reds come out here, then they can... Actually, they could go something like that, couldn't they? This is very messy. And then green. I guess I could kind of do the same thing with green with the standard split off. That doesn't give me quite enough room, does it? But that would... One more. That gives us a green and red for this side. And we need a green and red down here. So I guess one more standard split off. It's not ideal. Oops. This time we can be a little bit more normal with this, but I do need some more splitters. Well, it's quite a long way up here now. Not actually sure if my car is going to save me time getting back there or not. Let's just do that. Reconnect that one. So the same sort of thing here. Make use of that row to do that. And that is our processing unit build. Not too shabby. Oh, not quite finished either, because we actually need some output. Hey, you need one in there too, buddy. So we'll just have to add in the outputs and then we'll be done. That should have greatly accelerated the amount of green circuits that we are consuming. Well, it will as soon as we hook up the sulfuric acid, because obviously they're not actually processing these just yet because they haven't got their fill of sulfuric acid. And I might want to use a pump. I've got this pump, so that's one thing. Alright. From here for now we will just use undergrounds. Connect that up. And one down here. So if we have a look at our five-second production now, we should have to a second, 120 per minute. Excellent. On the minute it should be slowly going up. 5 seconds is all over the place, but yes, that is climbing. Now, blue circuits, I basically want this guy to reverse this path, and we need still more undergrounds. So this is by no means a full belt of blue circuits, but it's not a bad start. Excuse me. I might just grab 100 of those. We tend to be going through them fairly quickly. Where are they? Way down here. We need more path. There we go. We are now in a perfect area for our build. We I mean, I can add them here if I want. We also need to get the level 1 modules. How many do we need actually? 1 speed module, 1 per second. Okay. Well, it's impossible to access green unless we go way up here, which we could do. 1 speed module, 1 per second. That will require 15 machines. 5 green a second, 5 red a second. That's not actually that hard. What I might just do for them is build them here. We'll have to pull the green from up here and send it down here. If we can, I can probably use this outer track for it. Let's see if we can just push through and get this done. Be nice to have finished off the science. We might find that we need to increase green science. Oh, I didn't realise I had 14. Yeah, that's right. It's not very many. I don't have any 1s on me at the moment. No. Do I have any stone brick on me? No. Let's grab a bit of stone brick. I wouldn't mind having a bit more path, at least somewhere. Let's start with that. You can already see the damage to the green circuits. Yep, that's the right width. Just to make it slightly easier to get around. So we obviously have to come out from here. Probably, say to about there. And if that's basically in line with where we're prepared to start. 1, 2, 3, well, 14 plus 1. Yeah. It just fits. Let's just check that that is in fact the case. 15, good. You guys are speed module 1s. And yeah, this has to be, for this purpose, separate from any other such builds. And yeah, there's no room along there to get green, so either there or down here. I guess we'll take it from up here. Is it possible for one of these belt? No, it's not. No, I would have to use a red belt to do that. But we can do that without trouble. So something like that would work well. More green circuits into our collection. Oops. There's the green circuits. This blue is going to be in the way big time. For now, we will just get rid of those, and red. Need a red split off just there. Okay. And red inserters. Looks like we're going to need some more red inserters. Really should have gotten the bots up running before now so that they could just, like the logistic bots, so they could just come and deliver me the stuff that I need, but never mind. Probably pretty low on blues as well. And actually, while I'm here, I'm going to grab a quick stack of stack inserters because I do need them for the trains. I don't think I need them here. Some people argue you should just use stack inserters anyway, but no. This is not our permanent build for any of this stuff. This is just the starter factory. There we go. Now it'd be useful actually to have blue come in and go there. Not all of blue, but a split off of blue. It's kind of ugly. It's actually all of blue for the time being. You need power. And yeah, that's right. So that's two of the products. And what are the other products that we need for yellow science? They are copper cable and battery. and we need 14 of these machines, so we want to direct insert the cable, so it might actually pay to run this line. I could run cable, copper for cable up here. Copper, you get 4 copper every second, which means 4 copper a second. You basically can support you need 30 copper for each machine. We've got, let's just do the maths quickly. So 14 machines times 30. Well, hang on. We need 30 copper every second, because we're doing one iteration of this every second. 30 copper a second, divide by 4 a second, and this machine crapped out on me. Divided by 4 is 7.5. So we need 8 machines making copper cable. Which means that if you're making copper cable, you'll be feeding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You're like the half. No, that's not quite enough, is it? If I make 15, then a copper cable machine can feed every 2. They'll be slightly starved. But it won't matter, because we have the extra machine to make up for it. Given the quantities, I'm going to use stack inserters to transfer the cable. Now, before I get too carried away, if we're doing 30 copper cable a second, that's 15 copper plates required per second, which means we need two rows of these for the copper cable, which is fine. We can do that, even though I didn't leave enough space. How much do we need per second? 2 copper plate a second, so a blue inserter is fine to access it. And if it's 2 per second, the first 1, 2, well, we could go to about here, say, and then squish the rest of the product in. Because we don't quite need 2 really. It's something under 2, and I might just do these with a bit more space because I can. So the devs have made this slightly annoying with the calculations, but that's okay. We can cope. You are going to be copper, as are you. And so we need batteries coming up this way. We need this set of inputs coming down this way, and the final science coming up this way and fitting on one side. Yellow science. Let's get these copper sorted out. It's quite possibly the sole reason for this to exist now is to get this copper. We are going to struggle slightly though using our standard draw-off. I could put it there. If I put it there, I could use a red. Whoops. To leap over like that, and we can do another one here. This time we don't need to play tricks with reds, we can just go like so. Okay, so there's the copper. Now batteries need to come up here. Okay, that is going to need a little bit of help. Oh, we've got this issue again. I guess we'll effectively weave past that. Now, where are the batteries? Here they are. And look at that. Perfectly lined up, as though it was planned, which of course it was not. So, power. And on this side we will need to be extracting batteries. fact, we might even have to use substations to make this work. Can we make some? 2. We're probably missing red circuits, so let's just grab a few. No, we're actually missing steel. Let's change this right now. Substations are the way. Much more efficient in this case. Red inserters. I might have to rethink that, because I need not really. Shouldn't really be that big a deal. Yeah, that just seems a bit silly though, doesn't it? Let's do this slightly differently. If we do it like that, then that can work like that, so you guys can can move. I'll have far too many batteries on my hands by the time I've finished this. Guess I'll be making a donation to these machines to sort that out for me. You are going to have to go. Oh, you can move actually. Come on. There we go. Now, all these batteries I've got can go in there. Oops, can go into there. What else? I've got tons of purple science that can go into here. This one needs to wrap into there, which it can do quite easily from the looks of things. No. Okay. If I used a red inserter, I could go to there and do that. There we go. Blue science. Blue? Yes, we do have blue. We also have purple. We also have yellow. We have all of the sciences running at a rate of 2 per second. Well, 1.5 per second. We're going to turn on a new research. Yep. Effect transmission would be fantastic. Thanks for joining me for this one, guys. Sorry I ran overtime, but I think it was worth it to get blue science up and running. Blue science. Yellow science, dude. To get yellow science up and running. And so next time we can see if there's anything left over for... is this working? No. We don't have the science up and running at all. I didn't realise what I had done. Actually, I could have just... that's what we'll do. And that means that we can donate a few of our extras to science. Which is exactly what we want to do. There we go. All of our high tech has been donated. We're starting to get effect transmissions and all of the really cool sciences and late game sciences that we need, supposed late game. It may take a little while for all of this to catch up, but it should be fine. Let's just make sure these machines are not starved of any resources. That needs to get to 30 before this is done. There you go. Perfect. What about down at this end? Not that, this one. I think from memory they should be slightly starved. It should get to about 28 and then one more and then it goes. So there's a slight pause, but we have one extra machine to make up for that. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.